Hey guys, so today I want to do an overview of my pedal board again. I haven't done one in like maybe 2 years or something. So yeah, I decided to just do one now because I've been experimenting around with lots of different pedals for the past few months, and finally I think I decided on a combination I'm decently satisfied with. Hopefully it won't change for a while after this. I know that's famous last words, but yeah, hopefully it won't change for a while. Pretty satisfied right now. So yeah, I'm just going to go over each pedal that I have and do a little quick demo and introduction of each. By the way, one of the major things that changed between this video and my previous pedalboard overview video is the amp. So I'm now using a Supro Keeley amp instead of the Milkman 1 Watt Plus. I changed to Supro Keeley. I did a video on it already because this is a very clean pedal platform amp with a higher wattage than the Milkman. The Milkman was a 10 watt amp, which is pretty decent for pedals actually, but I wanted to have an even cleaner headroom amp. The Supro Keeley is 25 watts and literally was designed in conjunction with a famous pedal designer, Robert Keeley. So it should be pretty good with pedals because it's designed literally with a pedal designer, co-designed with a pedal designer, I should say. So yeah, should be able to take pedals pretty well, I think. Ironically, I don't have any Keeley pedals right now on my board. There's also two other pedals that I have. This is all the pedals on my board, but there's two other pedals that I'm not going to demo today, but I do have. One is the BBE wah. So this is just my wah pedal that I've had for a very long time. I think out of all my pedals, this is the one I've owned the longest. Since maybe 2010, I think I've owned this. Is from BBE, which is a company I think that actually makes some underrated pedals. They actually make a lot of nice pedals for very affordable prices, generally under $100. But for some reason, people don't talk about it too much. And this is their wah pedal. It's based on a vintage 1967-ish Vox Clyde McCoy type of wah. So it has like a halo inductor in it. So yeah, it's roughly equivalent to like a Dunlop Clyde McCoy Crybaby, or any of the other boutique wahs out there, like the Xotic wah or the Tease Picture wah. Any of those, full tone Clyde, any of those are based on the Clyde McCoy wah. This one has sort of the same sound. The only control on this wah is this harmony control, which is actually a Q control. It changes the EQ response, and that's the only control on this wah because that's really the only thing this wah really needs. I don't want to have a really fancy wah or anything like that. I don't need a really fancy wah. So just having this one Q control, I guess, is enough for me. And yeah, that's really it. I also like this this Chinese lettering here. It says Ben, which means origin, I guess. So yeah. Anyways, the BBE Ben wah, I think you can get it for less than $100. Fairly cheap and a really good sounding wah for that price. And yeah, I would prefer that to any Vox wah or Crybabies. I've owned Vox wahs and Crybaby wahs before, but I think that BBE wah is what I'm sticking with. Another pedal I have is the JHS/Boss Angry Driver. So this is a really nice full range overdrive pedal that Boss, which is a very famous pedal company, they did in collaboration with this actually, I wouldn't call them a boutique maker anymore, but a pretty famous pedal maker, JHS Pedals. They're very popular, and they did this collaboration because this pedal is a combination. I would say it's more than a combination. It's basically got two circuits inside of this compact housing right here. It's got the circuit of a Boss Blues driver and a JHS Angry Charlie inside of it. So this thing is probably, in terms of having just one overdrive pedal and being a full range overdrive pedal, this is one of the best full range overdrive pedals on the market, because you can get anything from very light grit, light gain overdrive from the Blues driver side. So you can just switch between the Boss, where you can just activate the Boss Blues driver. And you can get it all the way up to very high gain with the JHS Angry Charlie. But in addition to that, you can also change how they're ordered. You can have the JHS stacking into the Boss, you can have the Boss stacking into the JHS, and then you can have it in parallel, which is a very unique mode that you normally cannot get unless you use a mixer. So yeah, this is a very, very versatile overdrive. I don't have it on my board because honestly, I already have a lot of overdrives on my board. This is the pedal I would bring. In fact, if I want to just have my other amp, I have another Swart amp, and I want to get some overdriven tones, or if I want to just take a small amp somewhere to a friend's house or to like a small gig or something like that, and I just want to have one simple pedal to bring that can cover everything, then I bring this one, right? Because I'm not going to, like, if I'm just going somewhere for a little bit, I'm not going to just like take all these pedals, right? It's just too many. If I just want to have one overdrive pedal that's simple, easy to pack up and bring somewhere that can get me a huge range of overdrive sounds or distortion sounds, then I just bring this Boss Angry Driver. Normally, you know, at home I have access to all these overdrives, but yeah, if I'm just bringing it somewhere to practice or something like somewhere else, then yeah, this one will get me a huge range of overdrive pedals very easily just using one pedal. So it's really just a way to save, it's just a convenience thing actually, yeah. It's just for me, so I don't have to pack up my pedal board. If I want to have a wide range of overdrive sounds, if I'm playing outside, then I just need to bring one pedal, then I'll just bring this one, right? I can just get a huge range of tones out of it. So yeah, that's the Boss JHS Angry Driver. By itself, it's probably the most versatile overdrive I own because it can really do everything from a low gain all the way up to the Angry Charlie is basically a JCM 800 in a box, so we can really get that high gain Marshall type of sound out of it. So yeah, this is a overdrive / distortion pedal because the Angry Charlie is really kind of a distortion pedal. So yeah, probably the single most versatile overdrive, and I mainly use it if I just want to go outside, play outside, and I don't want to bring a whole bunch of pedals with me. I just want to bring one pedal that can get all my sounds. All right, so those are the pedals I will not be demoing today because they're not on my board. But I am going to talk about the pedals on my board now. So I have 10 pedals on my board. A lot of these you guys have seen from my previous videos before. So I still have the Boss TU3W chromatic tuner. It's a what's the Wazacraft thing about it is just that you can switch from the buffer bypass to true bypass, and I usually keep it in buffer bypass because I do like the Boss buffer, and of course having a buffer is nice because you don't want to lose your highs if you just use if you just have everything, your whole chain be true bypass, you're going to end up losing some of your highs because of all these, you know, cables that you're using. So it's good to have a buffer so you can preserve your highs and your tone. The Boss buffer is well respected, I guess, so good to have a tuner pedal just as a buffer. So yeah, a lot of people will be like, you know, well, what's the point about having a tuner pedal? Why don't you just use a clip-on tuner, or, you know, just use your phone as a tuner? But it's first of all, having a tuner pedal looks cooler than having a clip-on tuner or using your phone to tune. It's just cooler, okay? Rock stars can tell you that. But the more important thing is that it acts as a buffer. If you have a whole bunch of pedals on here, you don't want to lose your highs. So having the tuner pedal definitely is acting as a nice buffer. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the main purpose of the Boss TU3Ws. Basically for me, not just a tuner, but also buffer. And then go to the overdrive section here. I have 4 different overdrives here. Now I did a lot of different shootouts over the past few months with other overdrives because I love overdrives. I know, like, probably it's just because overdrives, there's just so many of them on the market. There's so many different choices. So yeah, I end up just going down the overdrive rabbit hole and testing, trying all these different overdrives. I think I'm okay with this for now. Yeah, I think I'm satisfied for now. You can see that the Wampler Euphoria, the Maxon TOD9, the Full Tone OCD, the MXR Ducatone, those are not on my board anymore, unfortunately, because I don't want to have too many overdrives on my board. I just want to keep it. Also the Fairfield Barbershop that I had to leave as well. I just have only 4 overdrives. I had to limit it, you know, to something. Actually, technically 5 because this preamp pedal is also an overdrive. Yeah, so basically 5 overdrive pedals. That's still a lot, but yeah, I swapped out different overdrives and did a whole bunch of shootouts over the last few months. This is what I settled on. Okay, so let's talk about these 4 right here, because this one is more of a preamp pedal. That's how I'm using it for. So I'm going to talk about these 4. Why do I have 4 overdrive pedals? Basically, I love stacking overdrives. That's one reason I have many overdrive pedals. I just love stacking them. I know I could just use the Boss JHS Angry Driver instead of all these overdrives, and, you know, technically I could just get the same range of overdrives just from this, but that's not fun, man. I want to be able to stack overdrives. It's more versatile, and yeah, I got more interesting tones out of this. So going over each of them, first is the Snouse Black Box Overdrive 2. This is not the most expensive pedal, but the thing is, this is completely handmade. So these, if you want to get them brand new, you have to get on a wait list. So generally, it's not very easy to get one of these pedals. So you end up paying a little bit more for it on the used market. I got this for $160 from Reverb, which is not too bad. I mean, they retail brand new for $150. Basically, this is a bluesbreaker, Marshall bluesbreaker type overdrive, which means that it's reasonably transparent and also gives you a little bit of light to medium gain, and also adds a little bit of low end as well. So pretty nice overdrive. I can demo it. By the way, I didn't demo the Boss pedal, but here's the Boss tuner. Pretty easy demo here. I'm just going to tune right here. Just do some live tuning to demo this one. Just make sure I'm in tune. Yeah, so that's the demo of the Boss tuner. Yeah, so right now I have a Fender Stratocaster, because I think most people know what a Fender Stratocaster should sound like. Just 3 single coil pickups. And this is the tone of my Super Keeley without any effects on. I would say it's most similar to a Fender Blackface style amp. So just think of your Fender Deluxe Reverb, Fender Twin Reverb. It's definitely more of a Blackface style sound. The reason for that is because, so Supro amps, to be clear, Supro makes a lot of reissues, or just, they make a lot of amps that are just more like their old vintage 50s, 60s Supro amps that are kind of like copies of those circuits. But for this particular one, this is the Super Keeley models. Yeah, the reason why they modeled it on the Fender Blackface amps is because these amps have a lot of clean headroom, which makes them really great for taking overdrive pedals. And I love overdrive pedals, right, as you can see. So that makes it really good for that, and that's why they modeled it on the Fender Blackface style. You guys can see, just a very, very nice clean style amp. Fairly neutral canvas to where I can paint using my overdrives. Yeah, it's basically like a neutral canvas where I can use my overdrive pedals on. So yeah, Black Box Overdrive 2. You have 5 different controls here: gain, obviously, volume, tone, preamp, which is actually kind of a clean boost, and then the presence. Now this amp, if you go inside of it, you can actually find dip switches for switching different positions. There is a high gain mode, and by default this is on the high gain mode. And then there's a low gain mode, or classic mode, which is more like the original Marshall Bluesbreaker. The original Marshall Bluesbreaker circuit is actually kind of a low gain type of overdrive, so it doesn't have that much gain on tap. But if you want, you can actually switch this into to that mode, and then it'll just be like exactly like the old school Marshall Bluesbreaker. And then there's a clean boost mode. I have it on the high gain mode because, you know, this way gives you the most variety of tones out of it. So and just put gain, volume, and tone all at noon. Preamp is just a boost. I mean, I could put this at noon, but yeah, I can just put it there. I can just show you guys what it does for now. Presence is just adding more highs, basically, because if you don't actually roll this up, it's gonna have a decent amount of low end in it. So I'll show you guys what I mean. So if I have presence turned down, let's say preamp turned down, I just have everything at noon here. So again, this is my clean tone. Turn on the overdrive, Black Box Overdrive. So you hear that there's definitely, there's like a muffled type of sound, right? It just, I mean, I have my tone control at noon, but it still sounds a bit muffled. Like I have my tone control down, as if I have my tone control down on my guitar, but I don't. So yeah, because of this muffled tone, that's why I have to put the presence knob at least to about 12 o'clock. So I can get some of my highs back. I just feel like without this presence control, it's not very usable, because it's just, yeah, you feel like, okay, there's like it's like rolling down the tone knob. I mean, let's roll up the tone. Okay, that helps, but still, not as much as rolling up the presence. So if you roll up the presence, the these up. Now you get your highs back. So you guys can tell the difference, right? So if I presence down, like a muffled type of sound, roll up the presence, get my highs back. So yeah, this pedal I would say honestly would be unusable if it not for the presence control. Because of the presence control, now I can get a pretty decent sound out of it. And then I can turn up the preamp, which is just kind of a boost. You definitely get some more volume out of it just by turning up the preamp. So that's almost like that's blending some of the clean boost in there. Almost like a clone circuit, I guess. But otherwise, yeah, the Black Box 2 sounds really nice. It's probably one of my favorite blues breaker style pedals. I actually like it better than the MXR Ducatone. I did a shootout between this one, the MXR Ducatone, and this one won. Haven't tried the JHS Morning Glory, but yeah, or the Wampler Pantheon for that matter, but I'm satisfied with the Black Box. You can turn up the gain on this. It's reasonably transparent in the sense that you still maintain your core guitar tone, and it's not adding like a mid hump or anything like that. So yeah, use the Black Box Overdrive 2 as a kind of medium gain pedal, I guess. Definitely, it can get a decent amount of gain on tap, but I would consider this a medium gain, a light to medium gain type of pedal. I mean, you can roll back the gain, and then you can also put it as a more of a clean boost, right? So turn this up. It's like more of a clean. Yeah, you can kind of make this pedal into a clean boost pedal if you want. So it's, yeah, I can do anything from clean boost up to medium gain, I would say. And I have to put the presence knob up, otherwise it's unusable. Yeah, it's a fairly nice, like, transparent overdrive. I use that in quotes because it's used so much, but yeah, very nice pedal. Probably one of my favorite blues breaker style pedals. Definitely really nice for stacking as well, which I'll show later. Okay, next is the G-Town Holy Grail, and this is the single most expensive pedal on my board. Not because of its retail price. It actually retails for, I think, around $150, $160. So the retail price is actually very reasonable. But this pedal is made in Russia. And after the whole Russia boycott thing, like embargo, I guess, because of the invasion of Ukraine, it's been very hard to get this pedal, which pushed up the prices on the secondary market. Made by a company called G-Town Custom Amps, which I think is just one guy. Yeah, so I think this company is just a one-man shop. He hand makes these pedals and ships them from Russia. So it's been very difficult to get it. So that's why I ended up paying $300 for this pedal, like double the price on the secondary market. Why did I pay so much money for this pedal? Because it is worth it. I'm telling you guys, this pedal is probably, yeah, I mean, I played other Dumble style pedals before, right? The Wampler Euphoria, and I think I've tried the Zen Drive before too. And yeah, there's a whole bunch of other Dumble style pedals on the market, right? This is like definitely one of the most versatile Dumble style pedals on the market. So reason why is because you look at the different controls, right? So you got drive, volume, tone, and mids. So because it has a mids knob, you can actually make this sound more like a Tube Screamer style pedal if you want. Actually, I believe this is based a little bit on Tube Screamer, and that's fine because most overdrives are based on the Tube Screamer. So yeah, if I want to get my Tube Screamer type of tone, I can use this as well. Just push up the mids on it. And there's a round open sharp setting and a high cut setting. The high cut is like the jazz rock setting on a Dumble. So yeah, this being a Dumble style pedal, it is trying to recreate the tones of a Dumble Overdrive Special, but I just find it as a really good Tube Screamer type pedal. It's just basically, for me, it's like it's a way more versatile Tube Screamer. So I'll show you guys what I mean. So I'll have everything set to about 12. Yeah, so clean tone. And I'll turn this on here. Right, and show you guys push up the mids a bit. Now it sounds more like a tube screamer, doesn't it? And this is in the high cut off mode. If I want to cut off the highs, it's going to sound very kind of muddy. Sounds very similar to the Black Box 2 when I turn down the presence. I don't like this kind of muffled sound. It's like rolling down the tone knob, which I never do. Yeah, it sounds very muffled and muddy, so I always turn the high cut off because I want to preserve my highs. Okay, so yeah, this is in open mode actually. If I put in round mode, then this is what it sounds like. Now you get more of a Robin Ford maybe. Definitely sounds more like a double style overdrive now in the round mode. This is similar to the smooth setting on the Wampler Euphoria, I guess. Except this is not as transparent as the Wampler Euphoria is. So that's, yeah, round mode definitely sounds to me more like the Dumble type of sound, which I guess is the more creamier type of overdrive. I know it's weird to say Dumble sound because Dumbles all sound different, but I think that the tone that people associate with Dumbles is this creamy type of overdrive, the Robin Ford type of sound. Like touch sensitive dynamics, like that kind of thing. Like that's the, I guess, Dumble type of sound, and it certainly does that. And then open is like, yeah, I can't tell you exactly what's changed. It does sound different by a little bit, but I can't, yeah, I can't exactly pin down what's different about it. It is different though. But anyway, so there's an open mode and there's a sharp mode. So this tone sounds sharper in this mode, I guess. Again, these are very minor differences to my ear. I mean, there is the difference though. You guys can definitely notice the difference. But one thing all these modes have is that Dumble style touch sensitive. Yeah. All these modes have that nice touch sensitive, creamy type of sound to it that I guess people associate with Dumbles. Yeah, that type of sound. Yeah, pretty nice pedal. I really love it. It's my favorite Dumble style pedal so far I've tried. I mean, it's even got the knobs that are similar to the knobs on the Overdrive Special, so yeah, that's actually the most expensive pedal on my board, the G-Town Holy Grail Overdrive. Highly recommend it if you can find them. They're not that common anymore, but yeah, I'm glad I got mine. All right, so the next one is a pretty popular overdrive, I would say. This is the MXR Timmy. The MXR Timmy is a very transparent type of overdrive, which, by the way, the G-Town is not transparent. The Black Box kind of is. The MXR Timmy, or just the Timmy pedal, is very famous for being probably the most transparent overdrive on the market, like more so than a lot of the other ones that they claim that they're transparent. You guys, I'll show you what I mean. It's a very versatile pedal too. It's just amazing for stacking. So you got volume, treble, bass, and gain on here. There's 4 knobs. You also have 3 modes. You have the bass mode, which is the asymmetrical clipping, and then clipping mode, which I guess is symmetrical clipping. I could be reversed on that. Then the gain mode, I guess, which I guess should be higher gain. So right now set to clip mode. So again, clean tone. on the MXR Timmy. So you guys can hear that it does add a little bit of gain, not too much. So the Timmy is mostly a light to medium gain overdrive. It doesn't do heavy gain, and you can tell that it's really transparent. Like my tone and everything is hardly affected. The core of my tone is hardly affected. It's just more gain. That's it. I'm staying on one position, by the way, so you guys can hear the consistency. Just the neck middle. So you guys can hear it doesn't really affect my guitar tone that much. It just adds more gain. So it's very, very transparent. That's what it's famous for. The bass knob actually adds more bass, so that's why I have it turned down, but I could add more bass if I want. So now I'm adding more bass. Yep. So this is in clip mode. Switch it to bass mode, which is, I guess, symmetrical, asymmetrical, but it changes the type of clipping here. One of these is symmetrical, one of these is asymmetrical. But yeah, it just changes the clipping mode. And then you change it to gain mode, just gets higher gain. Yeah, all three of these modes, they don't have like too much gain on tap. So don't expect like a high gain overdrive. The Timmy is definitely for light. You can use it as a clean boost. You can use it as a light gain to medium gain. I would say it has the least gain on tap compared to all of my other overdrives. Like compared to, yeah, it has less gain than the Black Box Overdrive 2, less gain than the Tumnus, and definitely less gain than the Holy Grail. But I really love it because it's such a great pedal for stacking with other overdrives, and if I want a clean boost, I can just use the Timmy to do that. It fundamentally doesn't change my tone that much. It's just a very, very versatile pedal. Yeah, if I just want to be heard louder, you know, I just use this one, the MXR Timmy. So yeah, I just have it because it's a really versatile light boosting slash light gain overdrive that plays well with pretty much every other pedal. There's nothing the MXR, there's nothing that the Timmy doesn't play well with. So yeah, the original pedal was a boutique pedal, which was handmade by one guy called Paul Cochran, but now that we have the MXR version, it's a lot easier and more affordable to get access to. And yeah, I highly recommend anyone check out the Timmy. It's just a really great, it's just one of the best overdrives you can get. So versatile and just plays well with so many other, especially if you're playing to stack overdrives. It's just such a good one for stacking. All right, so the fourth overdrive here is the Wampler Tumnus. It is a Klon Centaur clone. And it's probably one of the most famous actually because it's just so good at doing that. It's just got your 3 controls just like the Centaur: gain, treble, and volume. That's it. The Klon Centaur is just a really unique circuit. It's got interesting clean blend. So as you turn up the gain, it doesn't just add more gain, it also blends in your clean tone the whole time, so it's your tone never really gets too distorted. But yeah, it's just a really unique overdrive circuit. So I think that's why a lot of people like the Klon Centaur, and everyone has a Klon Centaur type pedal on their board now. There's so many copies of the Klon Centaur circuit nowadays because yeah, it's just a really unique circuit and sounds really good. So it's, yeah, it's just a really nice overdrive circuit. So yeah, this is my Wampler Tumnus against my clean tone. And with the Tumnus, I'm gonna just I'm gonna keep the treble high. Otherwise, it's, yeah, it's I'm gonna lose some highs if I don't do that. You can see that it sounds substantially louder because there is an internal, I believe, voltage booster inside of here, a voltage doubler that increases the headroom inside of this pedal. And that's what the original Klon Centaur did as well. There's like an internal voltage doubler here. It increases the clean headroom. And so that's why it sounds like substantially louder than all my other overdrives. Like once you turn it on, see, like this. Turn it on. It sounds substantially louder because of that voltage doubler circuit. And I don't even have the volume up that high. I can turn up the volume higher and gain up higher. Yeah, so it actually gets pretty loud. So I generally just leave it down a little bit. Yeah, the Klon circuit is, especially if you have the voltage doubler that increases the clean headroom, yeah, it's a pretty loud pedal. But it's never like that much gain. It's more of a medium gain overdrive, I would say. It's not like a really high gain overdrive. It's a medium gain overdrive. It's really nice to stack with, especially with the Timmy or the black box. Stacks pretty well with them. But yeah, I would say the signature thing about the Klon Centaur style circuit is the fact that it still remains clean. Like no matter what setting you use, so you do get gain with it, but it also sounds kind of clean at the same time. So it's really unique thing about the Klon type circuit. So you guys hear like the differences. So like for example, black box, right? You can definitely hear the gain on that. Holy Grail. Since this is like a tube screamer, you can definitely hear the mid-range being pushed on that one. The Timmy. Yeah, light gain on this one, of course. I'm going to turn down the bass because that's adding bass here. Yeah, you can definitely hear there is a light gain on the Timmy, but then the Tumness, yeah, you have gain, but you also have a clean tone in there. So it's really interesting. Yeah, gotta have a Klon style pedal on my board because it's just a really unique, interesting circuit. Actually, I'm going to use my compressor before I do that. So this is the Xotic SP compressor. I've had it on my board since 2016, probably 2015. I've had this one for a long time as well. So this is a copy of a Ross compressor. And this is made by, so MXR obviously is a big company. They're owned by Jim Dunlop. Wampler is headed by one guy, Brian Wampler, and a small team. So this is technically a boutique pedal made in the US. Xotic is also the same thing. They're headquartered in California, kind of a small shop of pedal makers. They also make guitars and stuff like that. They're more than just a pedal maker. But yeah, the SP compressor is one of them. It's just a mainstay on my board because it's it's really useful for squashing my sound. So whenever I want to stack my overdrives, it gets really loud, obviously, and I don't want to wake up any of my neighbors in my apartment. So I basically use the Xotic SP compressor to squash the sound down. This is essentially a souped-up version of a Ross compressor. So yeah, like I can have there's volume, and then there's blend, which is how much of this compression to blend in, I guess. And then I have how much I want the compression to be. So I want a high amount of compression, low amount of compression, or mid. I usually keep it on mid, but if I want highly compressed, I can just use the switch as well. There's also dip switches inside of here. It's a very versatile compressor for how small it looks. So that's what we love about it. It does a lot. Even though this pedal looks really small, it does a lot. So I'm gonna turn on the compressor, so that way you guys can hear my guitar signal getting smaller, right? So if I don't use it, yeah, so you guys hear my full guitar signal. I turn it on, and right, everything seems much quieter. And the reason why I would want to do that is because I want to stack my overdrives without annoying the neighbors, basically. So now I'm going to stack the Tumness and the Timmy together. So you guys can hear the sound of them stacking together without it being too loud. Because if I didn't use the compressor, it's going to be very, very loud. So if I don't, like, yeah, exactly, right? It's way too loud if I don't use the compressor. That way you guys can hear my overdrive, the sound of the stacking overdrives without waking up my neighbors. So yeah, that's what I use the compressor for. been on my pedal board for a very long time because it's just so useful. So the next pedal on my board is a delay pedal, and I've been thinking about this one for a while. I used to use the Keeley Magnetic Echo, and then I switched to the Boss DM2W, and then I switched to the Maxon 89, and now recently I switched to the Callum-bred Bella Epoch, which I've tried before as well, just deciding between which delay to use. So the thing about the Supro Keeley that my Milkman 1 Plus didn't have is the effects loop. So basically all the pedals up on this top, the top row are using the effects loop, and the ones on the bottom are just going to the front of the amp. The special thing about the effects loop is that it's put in between the preamp and the power amp. Why is this really useful? Well, if you have modulation effects like delay or reverb, then it will sound a lot more natural if you have them after the preamp distortion. So if you have the preamp distortion, like if you just plug them into the front of the amp, then the preamp distortion is going to make your delay and reverb kind of just distorted, right? More unnatural. So the effects loop is really good for modulation effects, like delay and reverb, and that's why I have them here. It's just cool to have an effects loop. I didn't have an effects loop with my old amplifier, right, the Milkman, but now with the Supro Keeley I have an effects loop, so that's why I put the delay here. And yeah, it sounds more natural that way. And I have all these other pedals in the effects loop as well, the compressors in the effects loop, just because it's easier for it to squash down all my sound after it goes through the preamp. This one I'll talk about a bit later, why I have this one in the effects loop. And then I have my looper in the effects loop too. Otherwise, if I didn't have my looper in the effects loop, it would actually, if I had it in the front of the amp, it would actually be going through this chain and it would just sound weird. So I pretty much have to have my looper in the effects loop because it technically is the end of my chain. So anyways, my delay pedal is the Callum-bred Bella Epoch. It is a tape echo delay. It is a reproduction of a Maestro Echoplex EP3. And have it in the effects loop, which means it's in the top row here. Everything in the top row is in my effects loop. And many different controls here. There's echo, there is echo, sustain, there is a modulation level, there's a record level, which how much signals hitting the tapes. There's the echo delay level, and there's a mix knob. So it's a very powerful delay pedal. Probably the most powerful delay pedal I've ever owned. Definitely more powerful than the Maxon 89 and the Boss DM2W, and also more powerful than the Keeley Magnetic Echo as well. So yeah, having it in the effects loop sounds more natural, so I'll show you guys my dry tone and my wet tone now. So you guys can obviously hear that effect, right? So there you're going to hear the repeats. For tape echo, it's interesting. The tape echo repeats are degraded a lot more than even analog delay. So analog delay, you'll hear the repeats decay a bit, but then with tape echo, it really decays. And then with digital delay, it sounds, pristine, but the thing about tape delay I noticed is that the repeats are really decayed. Digital delays, like the repeats are perfect. Analog delay, they're deteriorated a bit. And then, tape echo is just the most decayed sounding repeats, I guess. It's just kind of wonky sounding. You guys can hear it. Even if I turn everything up to only noon, this pedal already gets pretty crazy. So, I mean, this pedal, definitely you can play around with it a lot, and it gets pretty crazy. But I usually leave it on, kind of noticeable, but not too much, like this. Like this, yeah. And also this pedal has a tone conditioner in it as well, because it contains the Echoplex's preamp circuit, which kind of colors your tone a bit, and to me it adds a little bit more warmth to the tone. So yeah, so without the pedal, turning the pedal on. So you guys can tell that aside from the repeats, it actually is adding a bit of warmth to my tone too. So that's the tone conditioning effect of the EP3, which a lot of pedals have just had. You know, a lot of pedals, including Cattle and Bread, they made the Epoch Boost, which I had on my board before, as well as Dunlop. Dunlop had the EP101, which I had before. Chase Tone has a secret preamp. Clinch FX has the EP3 pre. Like a bunch of other pedals you guys have seen try to duplicate the Maestro Echoplex EP3 preamp only. So this pedal just has it built in. So if I intend to use the delay, then I'll just, you know, actually I could just turn the delay down and I'll just get essentially the effect of the preamp. So it's almost like having two pedals in one. It's like having a tone conditioner. Oh, Xotic EP Booster is another one. Yeah. So it's like having a tone conditioner like the EP Booster, or the you know, Epoch Boost or EP101 or whatever, and it's having a delay, a tape delay in the same pedal. It's almost like having two pedals in one, which is pretty cool. So anyways, I was shooting out between a bunch of delay pedals, and I think this one won it for me just because it does so much. So yeah, there's definitely a lot you can do with this pedal. Alright, so the next pedal is the Tubesteader Lightkeeper, and this is a very unique pedal. It's actually an overdrive pedal, I guess, but also a boost, and you might be wondering, why is it in the effects loop? Why is it in the first row here? So it's in the effects loop because it's actually a preamp pedal. So the Tubesteader Lightkeeper, and Tubesteader is a Canadian company, by the way. It's I think these pedals are all hand built by one guy up in Quebec. So that's pretty cool, and it's actually powered by one 12AX7 tube up here. It's actually trying to, it's not even emulating, it does have the preamp circuit of a Dumble overdrive like clean channel in it. So yeah, this is essentially the Dumble overdrive special clean channel built into a preamp overdrive pedal, and that's why I have it in the effects loop. And I feel it sounds a lot better in the effects loop, is because yeah, this pedal just, if you have it in the effects loop and it's a preamp pedal, well, remember how I said the effects loop is what happens after the preamp distortion? So basically after the signal travels through my Super Keeley preamp, it goes here. And that means that if I have a preamp pedal in the effects loop, this acts as the real preamp for my signal, basically, right? Because the effects loop happens after my amp preamp. So if I have a preamp pedal in here, then the signal actually hits this as the real preamp. So if that makes sense, that's why I have this pedal in the effects loop, and it sounds a lot better that way too. I tested it both, I actually had this in front of my amp before, and I had it in the effects loop. It definitely sounds a lot better in the effects loop, because this is acting as the real preamp now. The signal is just hitting this. It's like after my amp preamp, it's just hitting this as the real preamp. So yeah, I effectively have a Dumble overdrive special clean preamp as my guitar amp preamp, which is really cool. So yeah, this pedal, well, it's sort of a light to medium gain overdrive pedal as well, but I'm using it more as a preamp, and I'll show you guys what I mean. So this is my clean tone as always, and then if I turn on this pedal here, you guys hear it really tightens up my sound. There's a bit of compression, it adds a bit of highs back in, it just makes my tone sounds better. It's like if I don't turn this on, it sounds a little bit dark and muddy, but if I turn it on, yeah, everything just sounds better. More clarity, better compression. Yeah, that's why for this one I'll pretty much always have it on. Yeah, it sounds a lot better with this on. So yeah, I pretty much always have this pedal on. Just because, like, if I have it on, then the signal is really hitting this as my preamp, and everything just sounds better. Just adds a lot more highs, gives my tone more clarity, yeah, a little bit more compression, just everything sounds better when I have this pedal on. So it's an always on pedal for me. And yeah, I can adjust the volume here and the gain. And since this is effectively the preamp for my guitar signal, this is exactly the same as adjusting the volume and gain on my actual guitar amp. So yeah, if I turn that up, then it really affects the signal, because it essentially is just like turning up the volume and gain on my actual guitar amp, since this is acting as a preamp. Then I have a 3-band EQ here, bass, mid, and high. This one is also like something I can control as well, but I just generally leave it in the middle position. I don't want to change the EQ too much. So this other foot switch here is to control a mid boost and a clean boost. So I can turn either the mid boost off or the clean boost off. So right now this is not going to do anything. Yeah, so if I turn the clean boost on, you guys can see the difference here. So I can turn the mid boost off. So alright, so that's me just with this pedal being on. But if I put on the clean boost, sorry. Yeah, this essentially is a clean boost. So I can have this act as a clean boost, or I can have this act as a mid boost, or I can have it act as both. So this is just a clean boost. Now if I have the mid boost on, if I turn the clean boost off, sorry. So here is, sorry, let's do this again. So that's just the sound of the light keeper. Then I turn on the, yeah, just to have the clean boost. And turn the clean boost off, and I just have the mid boost. Now I have both on. So yeah, again, it's almost like it's another setting for my amp. So I can either have a clean boost for my amp or a mid boost for my amp, or I can just have them both on. So it's essentially just adding more tonal variations to my amp, since this is effectively functioning as the real preamp for my amp. So yeah, if that makes sense, that's why I have it in the effects loop. When you have a preamp pedal in the effects loop, it effectively becomes your real preamp and just part of your amp actually. So yeah, like basically I control the volume, gain, the mid boost, clean boost, and the 3-band EQ. It's effectively functioning as my amp at this point, which is really cool. So yeah, I'm always going to leave that on. And then have the Fender Marine Layer reverb. And by the way, this one is fairly expensive. It's $250 US. I believe Tubesteader now has a smaller version, like a smaller sized version of this pedal, which is nice. They also make a bunch of other amp in a boxes too. So that they have the Sunkeeper, I think, which is trying to be an orange amp in a box, and then they have a Magnetone in a box, and they have the Beekeeper, which is the full Dumble overdrive circuit, including the overdrive channel in a box. But yeah, this is just the clean channel of the overdrive special, effectively functioning as part of my actual amp preamp. Okay, and the Fender Marine Layer reverb. This is a pretty nice reverb. It replaced my Keeley Omni reverb, which I used for many years. The Fender Marine Layer, I did a reverb shootout actually, and decided to prefer this one. I can't afford a Strymon or anything, but I think this sounds pretty good. So it has 3 different reverbs. It has Hall, Room, and Special. Special is basically shimmer. So you have 4 controls here, pre-delay, this is your signal for pre-delay, your level of the reverb, your reverb time, and your damping. So do Hall variation, you have 2 variations for each reverb and a filter on and off. I'm always going to leave the filter on. I don't actually see too much difference with it off, but yeah, I'll just leave it on. And yeah, I like the look of this pedal too, because you have this nice jewel knob indicator. It's like a Fender amp. So yeah, this is, so well, first of all, I don't have any reverb on right now. And I can just put the Hall reverb on, this first variation. So reverb's always a very subtle effect, but hopefully you guys can hear something. Maybe if I turn the level, the pre-delay on. Maybe the reverb time as well. I need to turn it a little bit up so you guys can hear better. Hall is probably the most subtle out of all these effects. Variation 2, let's try that. just a bigger hall, I think. Yeah, it's just a bigger hall. I think hall variation 1 is probably the most subtle out of all the reverb effects here. Variation 2. Okay, let's do room. Room variation 1. I think variation 1 is always more subtle than variation 2. Variation 2 is a bigger room. Yeah, both room and hall, it's fairly subtle effects. There's no spring reverb in here, which is odd because it's Fender. No plate reverb either, so those are two of the biggest types missing, but room and hall are good for me, I think. Special, I don't really use that much, but here's special variation 1. I heard some people say special variation 1 is actually more like a plate reverb, but I don't know. It doesn't sound like a plate reverb to me. But the plate reverb, you hear kind of like a metallic-y, I guess, type of reverb. Because plate reverb is a sheet metal, right? So you hear kind of I don't hear any metallic type of reverb trails, but anyways. Yeah, not exactly sure, but yeah, the special one. Special 2 is a shimmer, basically. Actually, all these effects are really subtle. The Fender Marine Layer reverb I find is definitely more of a. I mean, reverb's always subtle. But the Fender Marine reverb especially, I think all the effects are fairly subtle. But they're high quality effects. Yeah, very high quality effects, just it's a subtle effect. But I always have it on. Basically, I just leave the reverb on because it's just an always on effect for me. Alright, last but not least in my pedal board is the Boss RC5. I've always had some variation of a Boss looper pedal in my signal chain since probably 2010, 2011. I think it was around that time I got the Boss RC2, and then I got the Boss RC3, I think in 2012, and I used that until maybe 2020, 2021. So yeah, I used the Boss RC3 for a really long time. And then Boss RC5 I got like maybe 3 years ago, so I've been using this one ever since. Yeah, I've had some variation of a Boss looper on my pedal board for effectively like what, 14 years now? 13, 14 years. It's been a while. So yeah, Boss looper is always on my board. It's both acting as a nice buffer, and it's just the fact that I don't really play with the band or anything. I just, you know, I play for myself, and I play for YouTube videos and stuff like that. And because of that, I really do need a looper because I don't play with anyone else. So a looper is really a necessity for me to play. So yeah. Set my loop level here. I restored, for the cool thing about the RC5 is the main advantage of RC5 over the other RCs I used, over the RC2 and 3, is just it stores more tracks. So that's the main advantage. So RC2 only stored like 7 tracks. RC3, I think the memory was enough for about maybe 12. And then this one, the RC5, I can put, you know, just a whole bunch of tracks on it because it has more memory than the RC3. So I think I already put like maybe 25 different backing tracks on here. So yeah, I always use this, right, when I'm practicing and stuff. It's really useful. And it's in my effects loop because, like I mentioned, the looper has to go at the end, otherwise it'll just sound messed up. Because, you know, you don't want to have your loop going through a reverb and a 2 preamp, and yeah, that just sounds weird. So definitely This is going to be at the end of the signal chain. It has to be at the end of the signal chain. Yeah, unless you want to put effects on your loop, which I don't want to do. Okay, I'm going to reduce this a little bit. Like I said, the Fender Marine Layer Reverb is a very, very subtle effect, but I always have it on because I'll definitely know if it's not on. Like it's subtle, but you'll definitely know if it's off. It's like one of those. It's kind of like yeah, the EP3 like preamp thing, right? Like tone conditioners. Like you always have it on. If it's not on, it's a very subtle thing, but if you don't have it on, then you'll notice. So, anyways, I gotta put my compressor on. I'll just play a loop here, and I'll turn on a whole bunch of my overdrives here. Stack 3 of them, in fact. Actually, I'll up the loop level a bit. This is just standard blues jam here. I have to have the Xotic compressor on to play at bedroom levels, so I'll put on the delay. Of my pedal board here. Yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions, but I think this is going to be what I'll be using for the next little while. So this guys, my pedal board for 2024. Yeah, leave me any comments and questions, and as always, thanks for watching.